It's Musings with Mo. She's on a roll, serving big thoughts with a side of soul. One part snark, two parts strange delights, streaming live from the edge of night. It's Musings with Mo. It's Musings with Mo.
Hey guys, this is going to be a little bit more of a serious Musings with Mo. I just have a couple of things to say, and so I figured this would be the place to say this. As you guys know, if you've been here a while, or maybe you don't know, maybe this is the first time you've heard this. I lost my first husband when I was 24, and my children were, my two girls were 18 months and 5 months, respectively. So when I saw the story about Charlie Kirk and, kind of taking away all of the political and social and just the horrificness of the crime, my heart just shattered because I now know how Charlie Kirk's wife, Erika, I now know exactly where she's standing, if not for the same circumstances. So, from one young mother and widow to another, as you join this club that no one ever wants to join, it sucks all the donkey balls. You are seen and as alone, as broken, and as horrifyingly cruel as this world seems for continuing to spin while your world, your internal world, your life has lost all gravity and oxygen. And whether it happened on live television that you learned the news, or you learned it in a cracked parking lot of a hospital, and you learned that you are now a mother to children that no longer have a father on earth, that you learn that regardless of how devastated you are, top and foremost in your mind is, I have babies and they need me. They only have me now. So if I have sat with that terror, with that overwhelming knowledge, with the answers that won't come when you look into a young girl's or child's eyes and have to explain where daddy is or where mommy is. So I have absolutely been there. And if I could give any wisdom at all, it would be to feel these feelings and don't put them off, because sometimes I am learning that grief, this deep, paralyzing pain, is part of the process. That being said, you are going to have possibly entire years that you barely remember, because it's just going to be about one foot in front of the other and, just surviving. And forgive yourself that. If you aren't able to cry right now, if you aren't able to grieve in the way that you feel is appropriate, well, let me let you in on a little secret. Sometimes grief looks like happy tears crying and, snot crying all within 5 minutes of itself with no rhyme or reason. But in probably the cruelest part of grief, and the part that they don't tell you, is that grief, and this young lady has been sentenced to every life event, every graduation, every parent-teacher conference, a drip, a drop, a drab of that poison, remembering and realizing that Charlie isn't there, that the life that she thought she was going to be living is no longer the life that she gets to have. And the sad truth is that years from now she'll be at her son's graduation for high school, and part of her heart will be breaking for her daughter to not have her dad in the bleachers cheering her on, or grieving for her father not being able to see the lovely person, the lovely man that these children have grown up into, to, not know if you have, no, you don't have the wisdom to give a boy child about how to be a man. And you thought you had a partner there to teach them, and that's how you thought your life was going to be. And that, like a sneaky butthole, grief is a, a bit of a silent, kind of tsunami. And it'll be a smell, it'll be a sound, it'll be a life event, and it'll just knock you over sideways with no warning. So, knowing all this personally, I find it unconscionable. I find it absolutely almost disqualifying from being able to call yourself any kind of member of the, human community if your first reaction to this, and I've seen it, and look, it happens on both sides, whatever, I don't care anymore. I don't care what side you're on. If your first reaction to a man passing away on live, video feed, and the fact that he leaves behind a wife and two young children, and your first thought was to gloat, was to take your hot take onto TikTok, was to say something stupid and radically, and I do mean radically unkind, then we have a soul problem in America. And if the 5% on either side that will not engage with, honesty in fair debate, cannot and will not be forced to, like in kindergarten, listen and, not assume that everyone else has the moral judgment of, Hannibal Lecter. I'm done. I am done if you reveled in this. I am done because you haven't walked in this. I can't, and I'm not going to go into all of the little drips and drabs of hell that grief is. Especially grief when you're trying to still be a fully engaged parent, because that is what your children deserve. It is a special kind of hell to, keep up with everything with two young toddlers and go into a bathroom and cry at night so that your kids don't see, because they need a mommy and they get worried when mommy cries. That's what she's living right now. So maybe this one hits a little too close to home for me. And I am going to probably, as I am hopelessly addicted, uh, and shamefully addicted to those Reddit, varying levels of awful AI voice stories about drama that has nothing to do with me and is wholly fictional. Let's be real. I doubt that 999 CEOs of independent tech startup companies go onto Reddit to complain about their toxic family. However, they do kind of help me reset. I will say that this story has been incredibly heavy on my heart. Um, and I'm not trying to in any way put my pain as a patch on Charlie's wife. Don't take it that way. But I it hits very close because I now know the life that she's going to have for a while. Not similar in, public. And I benefited greatly from the fact that I wasn't famous. My husband's passing wasn't beyond an obituary announcement, wasn't, front page news, wasn't on every single thing. There wasn't live video footage of my husband's life leaving his body. So she has it monumentally worse than I did. And, no one was scrutinizing how I was taking this on a national level. I mean, so with acknowledgement that they aren't the same thing, but I can tell you that the pain is profound. Let us please go out and try to be kind. I don't know where this country's going. I don't have a big brain. I can't tell you what's going to happen because of all this. But what I can tell you is that my heart and my spirit always remembered the small acts of kindness that were shown to me in the darkest times. Even the year I don't really remember, I just know that there were people in my life. I couldn't give you the exact, you know, instant or time. But because I was in so much pain, those acts of kindness were so profoundly miraculous to me. So let's be a profound, miraculous miracle to someone. Be kind, give someone a compliment, because we never know what people are carrying. And just because someone's pain is in public and all the more painful for that, and someone's pain is private and all the more painful for that, we all understand. And even if you haven't walked through this, we all understand pain. So let's try to resist our inclination to want to turn this and become angry. I think there's a look, I'm not a genius. I don't know pragmatically where we go from here. But I do know that those times where I was gifted kindness and grace during dark moments have been profoundly healing. And I hope that we can do some profound healing today because we need it. Any hoozle, I am going to get back to my Reddit stories so that even in grief, there is often laughter. There's often these little random things that make you giggle about the person. And we have to not wallow in our grief. We should honor the pain, but not wallow. And so I want to find some fun stories too. And, you know, there it is. Spread kindness, guys. Spread kindness. Because it's a profoundly sad world sometimes. But if you can make someone smile, if you can make someone snort laugh, then for just a little bit, you have changed their life. You have changed their moment. And if you change enough moments, you change a life. Bye, you guys.